All right, so we are officially starting. So thanks everyone for joining us. This is our first part of our Getting Started workshop series, starting your pre-professional journey at Grand Valley. And this is brought to you by the Pre-Professional Advisors in the Class Advising Center. I will change back to that. I'm going to introduce our staff first. But I'm Alexis Shavy, and I am a senior academic advisor in the center. I am also one of the pre-professional team leaders with Elizabeth Clark. And joining us today, I'm going to turn over to Michelle to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Duvale Martin. Like Alexis, I am also one of the pre-professional academic advisors here in class. I oversee 4 of our different science areas for majors, and I am also a alumni 2 times over here. Did both undergrad and grad. Go Lakers.
Thanks, Michelle. And then we'll have Diego introduce.
Hi, everyone. My name is Diego Loa, and I'm also an academic advisor. I am not an alumni here, but I did my undergrad in Northern Michigan University and my master's at Eastern Illinois.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, I'm gonna back up a second here. So what we're hoping to make sure that we're talking about with students today is just things that you need to know as a pre-professional student at Grand Valley. We're doing a whole workshop series this fall, so we'll get into some of the nitty-gritty with finding clinical experiences, what you need to know about how your GPA is calculated and what makes you a competitive applicant with GPA. But what we really want to do for this first part of the workshop is dive into what are the things that you need to know about how our office can assist pre-professional students, what's the role of advising, and just kind of that broad picture of what makes a competitive applicant. Okay, so those are some of our basic objectives. Those who are not with us today, I mentioned Elizabeth Clark, who is one of our team coordinators. Elizabeth Gibbs is one of our graduate assistants. And then kind of behind the scenes, Allison Sluzarchek and Joe Stoddard are some of the folks that you'll see at the front desk if you come into the Class Advising Center. If you don't know where the Class Advising Center is, we are in Mackinac Hall. We take up that whole long hallway right off the courtyard in the C Wing, room 120 and 140. We have 2 ways that you can kind of meet with us. Appointments, which is probably the most popular, 30-minute appointments. We do those virtual through Zoom. We also do in-person appointments in Allendale. And then we have drop-in hours. So drop-ins are available Tuesday mornings and afternoon, and then Friday mornings. Drop-ins are meant to be just more of kind of quick questions, maybe urgent things that come up during the week where we're available. But those appointments are where we can do more of that individual, maybe long-term planning, degree planning, kind of talk about your pre-professional interests in a little bit more depth. Ways to schedule appointments, you can either stop into our office and schedule. We use a program called Navigate to do scheduling. So you can go online to Navigate and also call our office. Our front desk can help set up those appointments as well. All first-year students will do if this is your very first semester at Grand Valley, you'll do a first-year advising appointment, which means that you will meet with one of us before you can register for your next year's classes. And more information will be coming out about that. So for today, we're talking more about what is pre-professional. When we say pre-professional at Grand Valley, we are referring to these 7 different healthcare or related areas. There are definitely other areas in healthcare, right? Commonly like physician assistant studies, physical therapy. We specifically don't work with those areas because they fall under a different college at the university, which is the College of Health Professions. So if you are interested in one of those healthcare areas, there's another designated advising center that can work with you. What we do to work with students in those areas, I mentioned individual advising is probably the majority of what we do in our office, meeting with students, talking to them one-on-one, planning out their long-term goals. But other things that we do kind of behind the scenes, we have partnership programs with some of the Michigan medical schools, which we call our early assurance programs. We also have partnerships with 2 of our pharmacy schools in the state of Michigan. So we coordinate those and try to create some spots for some early admission opportunities for students. We work with our student clubs. So we'll talk a little bit later in the presentation about how the clubs can be helpful to kind of get you started on the right foot in the professional area. And we make sure that we're working closely with those clubs. So any news or announcements we get from like the general pre-professional world, you know, if we hear something from one of like University of Michigan and they're doing an open house for their dental students, we're going to make sure that our pre-dental club knows about that. Application support. This is probably, you know, several semesters away for many of you, but when the time comes to actually apply to these professional areas, we help you with that. We help you with the written application. We help you with writing your personal statement, writing your experiences. The application systems themselves can be confusing. So we're here year round during the summers, during those peak times when you're applying, to help you with that too. We do have a program that our letter packets. This applies more to our medical and dental students. It's just kind of a unique way to package your letters of evaluation and be able to have those sent to professional schools. So those apply more to our juniors or seniors who will be applying. I think it's also worth mentioning, we work with alums. So you don't have to get all of this done during your time at Grand Valley. Our services extend to our pre-professional students after they graduate. We have a lot of students who will continue on this process and applying after they graduate. So know that we're here to support you kind of during that whole time. We also have a mentoring program that we coordinate out of our office. Michelle, can I throw it to you to just talk a little bit about what that is?
Certainly. So this is, excuse me, program run of our office where we have students who are in their freshman or sophomore years apply to be a mentee, and our upper students, juniors and seniors, apply to be a mentor. I do want to preface that just application is not a guaranteed you are in. This is an application process. If after the process of that, we pair you off and do a once a month activity that's actually organized. Of course, the hope is that mentor and mentee will meet outside of just that once a month thing to build that relationship and help each other as necessary. You have your mentors that have kind of gone through the classes, the testing, the application process, answer those questions we may be nervous with. Hopefully our mentees then someday become mentors. We did just close the cycle for this semester. Emails are actually going out today for notification. If you missed the boat or were not accepted, please do not feel discouraged. Like I said, we have very limited resources for this, have to keep it at a certain number, but we do anticipate doing an application cycle every semester. So maybe you also thought this is too much to do it this semester. We look into it for next term. Also at this time, it's just for pre-med, with the hope to expand it into some of our other professional avenues. So those of you that are like pre-vet or pre-dental also don't feel like, oh, I wish I had this. The hope is to get there. We just, at this time, don't have it for every avenue yet. If you do have any questions about it, I am the advisor that oversees it. So feel free to reach out to me and I can answer those questions.
Okay, thanks so much, Michelle. All right, so let's start getting into some of our content here. What I'd like to do is take some responses in the chat. If you can answer this question, what makes a well-rounded applicant? So think about your professional area, whether you want to become a veterinarian or a dentist or an optometrist, chiropractor, you know, any of our areas that we work with. Think about those characteristics that that person has who's in professional school, has gotten admitted. And I want you to throw some of those ideas that you have into the chat. Perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna say we've done a couple of these workshops, and some of the things that have come in are some of the same things that your peers have mentioned in earlier workshops. So thinking of good GPA, experienced, right? So clinical settings, volunteer hours, having shadowing experience. So kind of that hands-on side of it. We've got volunteer work in here. Yeah. I like what people are saying, like different areas or diverse clubs, right? So a variety of experiences. Every applicant is going to kind of have their own unique application or unique resume that they're going to apply with. So there's not one size fits all. The thing we do want to tell students is that being a competitive applicant isn't just fulfilling certain check marks or check boxes. We like to think about what you're doing as building competencies. And so there's a kind of a diagram on the screen there. If you grab that QR code, that'll take you to a handout. I also will follow up with everybody and send you some of the slides from today's presentation, and I'll send you any of the links that we use too. But if we think about each applicant as applying and not just having a certain GPA threshold, and if they, are taking a professional exam, a certain test score or a certain number of hours of volunteering, what we're looking at are all the things that you do during your undergrad time, the classes you take, the experiences you get involved in, all the things you mentioned in the chat. What they're doing is building up competencies. And that's what we have kind of on the outside here. So competencies are what professional schools are looking for their entering students. It's the skills that you're developing and how you're showing that you're ready for that profession. And we have them kind of grouped here into different categories: professional, thinking and reasoning, and science. Right. So a lot of you are science majors. You're definitely going to be taking a significant number of science classes to meet the requirements. That's what's going to show that you have that understanding of living systems, of human behavior. There's a reason why we recommend that students take psychology and sociology. But your coursework and your transcript is not the only thing that's going to show that. Understanding how to be service-oriented is how you might get involved in the community, how you might do volunteering. You might in the future work as a tutor in our tutoring center. That might be how you show that you have strong oral communication skills, critical thinking skills, right? So we want to make sure that today we're thinking about what are the things that you need to be a competitive applicant in a couple years. And the way to do that is to think about, these are the competencies that I need to develop, and then think backwards. So all the activities that you engage in at Grand Valley, thinking about the classes you take, you want to start to tie these to the competencies and show how you're developing them. This list specifically is part of the Association of American Medical Colleges list, which is what the competencies are for entering medical students. However, even though it says pre-med on it, it applies to everyone. Optometry schools are looking for people who can work in teams and collaborate with others. Veterinarians need to have reliability and dependability. So regardless of the profession, insert these attributes, and these are the things that schools are looking for. So we also want to make sure we're talking about what is your why, right? So one of the things, I think what came in the chat was a lot of tangible things that people can see either on a transcript or a resume, but there also has to be personal attributes that you bring that make you unique and make you stand out. One of the first sessions we did, somebody talked about passion, and I was like, absolutely, right? You can't build passion into somebody, but if that's something that you have and it's easy to see when they talk to you, or the way that you write about why you want to go into this field, those are those personal characteristics that are unique, that also need to be that schools are going to be looking for when you apply. Down the line, when you apply to professional school, there's your written application, and so you have a personal statement that you will write, and that personal statement is limited to, it could be 5,300 characters or 4,500 characters. That boils down to about 5 paragraphs, pretty much like a page and a paragraph, for you to tell your why. So if your dream school is to become a vet at Michigan State, you will have 5 paragraphs to say, this is why I want to do that, okay? That, to me, that is the most daunting part of this entire process. If I had to think about me writing my why into that limited space, it is so challenging. Which is why we offer support in the summers to help students write their personal statements. But we want to make sure that we're thinking about that frequently. We want to think about that we're, early and often. We want to be thinking about what is your why. So what I'd like you to do, because we're recording this, I think I'll just have you maybe think about it for a few moments. Think about why it is that you are interested in this profession. Okay, so think about what are personal experiences that you have had in the past that maybe started you on this path to this pre-professional program. What are the things that maybe help shape your understanding of the field? What are some of the values that you have? So I think about me as an academic advisor. Helping people is one of the values that I identified early on in my college career. Whatever I do, even if it's not at a college university, I want to make sure that I'm helping people. So what are those values that you have that you're like, these are non-negotiable things that I need to have in my career path? Think about the impact that you want to make. Is there a certain population that you want to work with? Is there a certain geographic region that you want to work with? A lot of our early assurance programs that we have are meant to, for our medical program specifically, build up future physicians who want to stay in Michigan and who want to work with underserved populations. That could be in maybe a rural capacity, could be in a remote area. Oftentimes we'll have students who say, I came from an area where I didn't have regular access to healthcare, and that's why I want to do this. So think about that impact that you want to make. Think about the challenges. So we know that all of these areas are service oriented. We know that they're competitive, and we know that they're challenging, right? It's not easy being a dentist. It's not easy being a doctor. What are those challenges that you think you're going to face? And when those things come up, are those things that you can overcome? So those are all the things that you kind of need to be thinking about now as you're thinking about your why, and the things that you need to continue thinking about it as you go. Does your why change? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. If it changes, does it change in a way that makes you want this field more? Sometimes it changes in a way that maybe you want this field less. Maybe you decide, I don't want to be a doctor because of some of the things, the challenges that I've seen. And that's okay. We just want to make sure that by the time that you're applying to these programs, you really have a well-developed understanding of, why do I want to go into this field? Why do I think I would make a good fit? So a lot of you, one of the things I'll share from our earlier workshops, a lot of people could answer this first part, reflect on personal experiences. Some people would share, I want to go into this field because I have a parent who was sick and I saw the medical treatment that they had. Or I was born with maybe a certain condition, and working with my dentist was one of the key things that helped get me through that. Sometimes people talk about, I just see that this is a need in the world, or this is a need in my community, and this is the way that I think I can give back. So whatever that is, your initial why, that's great, but we need to make sure that you keep building onto that. That can't be the only story that you tell when you apply to professional school. You have to back it up then with things that help show, right? You have to show your values. You have to show why you want to go into the field. And that's really what we're going to be discussing throughout the fall semester during our Getting Started workshop series, is how do you build those experiences, your GPA, how do you demonstrate those attributes that are important that help really show this why and make a strong case for your fit for the program that you plan to apply to in the future. Okay. I do have on the top here, I'm going to show one more thing before we kind of sidestep into our next steps. It can be a big question that I get as an advisor is, where do I need to document this stuff, right? I have my why, I have a couple ideas for what I might want to put in my personal statement, or I'm shadowing and I'm listing those hours. Do I need to have my optometrist sign a form to say that I came in and did shadowing? One thing that we've created to help you kind of organize these things and start your journey is what we call our action plan. And this is what I have on screen here. we'll drop the link in the chat. I'll drop that right now. So there we go. You can open up a copy if you would like. So on the bottom, we have all these different areas that you can start to calculate. So some of the information here about your why, kind of reintroducing those ideas of those core competencies, starting to get into some of the academic planning. As you go further down the list, they start to get a little bit more tailored to somebody who would be applying to professional school. For instance, I just met with somebody about creating their list for dental schools that they plan to apply to. Those are things you don't have to worry about right now in your maybe first or second semester, but definitely things that you should start thinking about so that they don't sneak up and all of a sudden you feel like, I don't know what a dental school wants, or I don't know why I plan to apply to that vet school. Okay, so make sure you're using this. This doesn't have to be the way that you organize your information. If you have your own journal or document that you use, that is fine. We just wanted to put something out there that made it easy for you to kind of track your progress. So hopefully that is a helpful tool. Okay, I am going to stop talking on my end and I'm going to throw it to Michelle, who's going to talk about our next steps.
Thank you very much. So yeah, we do have a few next steps that we would like to suggest for you all to keep in mind. The first is definitely to sign up for our next workshop. The link is available right there on the screen. We also have sent some emails out. You can reach out to us. We can help you with that sign up. As Alexis mentioned, these are workshops that we're doing continuously. Our next one is going to be about finding clinical experiences, which is definitely something that is, as we point out, necessary for those applications. So having help on where to find them is going to not only benefit you, but be, I think, just a great thing in your pocket to know about. The other is we are on Instagram. Please follow us. We are starting to get back into the school year and post things more. We do have an inner office photo contest going on between some of the departments, so don't be surprised if you see Alexis, Diego, and myself post some fun photos in there. But please do follow us on Instagram. You also may want to join, if you have not already, one of the many pre-professional clubs here at Grand Valley. You can go through LakerLink and join one of those clubs. Also, kind of aside, we mentioned having that community and, exposure. You don't just have to join one of the pre-professional clubs. You can join other clubs too, but definitely joining one of the pre-professional clubs is going to be very beneficial. Bookmark and review our website. We have so many resources available for you right on our website. We are not always available, and sometimes it might be 11 p.m. on a Saturday and you have a question. I'm not available at 11 p.m. on a Saturday, but we might have the information you're looking for right on our website. So definitely bookmark that page. That thing that Alexis was just showing you, the tracker with all that information, that's right there on our website too. So if you didn't grab it today during our presentation, it's on our website. So that's very, very helpful. We also have some upcoming events at Grand Valley for you to check out, one of which the study abroad. We also have our Office of Undergraduate Research to gain some research experience, and also the civic engagement at GVSU. Those are just 3 events coming up. Grand Valley is an amazing institution, constantly having events going on. So definitely keep checking, your student email, our website. We post things, our Instagram, we post when things are coming up. So definitely pay attention to that. You can also scan the QR code in the upper corner to that registration link for our next workshop. So hopefully I'll give you a few seconds if you all need to scan on that. I believe Alexis just put in the chat the link for it as well. Yeah, all of those with the links that are also available in the chat for you as well. As mentioned, those pre-professional clubs, just a quick rundown about those meetings. Pre-med, they meet every other Tuesday. You can see when the meetings are for pre-vet, pre-dental, pre-pharmacy, pre-optometry, and our pre-chiropractic club. Some of them may have already had their first meeting. Do not feel like I missed the first one, so therefore I cannot join the semester. Reach out, see when they're meeting, what you've missed, and still get involved. It's a great way to network and just stay kind of up to know on things going on in the field, make friends, make mentors, and make memories. And there's also the QR code for Laker Link to sign up for those clubs. I will say that's the initial sign up. It doesn't automatically mean you are in these clubs. Some of them have very strict stipulations, such as paying dues or attending so many meetings. So once you connect through Laker Link, you will be notified from someone on their e-board about those rules and regulations to become an active participant. And then they also have Instagram handles as well. All right. And last but not least, if you do have any questions, as we mentioned, please reach out to us. We are happy to help. Our office phone number as well as email is listed there. Our office is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We are located in the C wing of Mackinac Hall. It is a little confusing. We're in 2 offices, but if you go in the one and you need to be in the other, they will point you in that direction. So don't worry which side you go in, you will be connected with one of us. And again, reference our website, very, very helpful, our Instagram. We're here to help you. Never feel like you cannot ask us a question. We are here to help you and point you in the right direction. Before we get into other questions, one more QR code. We do have a little survey that we ask you to participate. We can only improve on these sessions if we know where we need to improve on. So if you could please scan that QR code to fill out a short survey, we would greatly appreciate it. And while y'all fill that out, we will open it up to any questions as well.